Good morning, soldiers. What a very chilly day here today. Definitely reminds me of my days at Valley Forge, that cold winter, and when we crossed the Delaware River to surprise the British. Ooh, brr. Well, anyway, I'm sure the weather will be back to nice and normal pretty soon. Hopefully, we'll see. How are you today? I would just like to say hello, and this is my last week with you. So I'm very sad, but my good friend will be joining you after when I leave, and I think you'll like him a lot. So I have a few questions for you. Do you remember who the founding fathers were? Yep, here's a clue. One of the founding fathers was Benjamin Franklin. The other was George Washington. And do you remember that other person who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson. Very good, very good. Who became the first president of the United States of America? You got it, Mr. George Washington. Bravo. And what was the name of the capital of our new country? And remember, it wasn't part of any state. What is the capital of our new country? It was, my name is a clue, Washington, D.C. And it remains the capital today. Good job. Now today you are going to listen to me read to learn more about Mr. Benjamin Franklin. I've been waiting and waiting for you to learn more about him because he was actually an inventor, and you are going to learn about some of the things that he invented today. All right, are you ready? Here we go. Like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin was one of the founding fathers of our country. He was never a president, but he was a very wise man with wonderful ideas. You will remember that Franklin was a part of the Continental Congress, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and a representative of our country in both Great Britain and France. He was all over the place. Long before his days in government, Benjamin Franklin was a successful businessman in Philadelphia. He had always been a good reader and writer, and as a boy, he had been an apprentice in his brother's printing shop in Boston. Now, an apprentice is someone who is learning how to do a job from someone who is an expert at that job. Kind of like, do you remember Mr. Brown? He was in Mrs. Hoffman's class last semester. He was learning how to be a teacher for Mrs. Hoffman. So an apprentice is just like that. It's somebody who's learning how to do something from an expert. So when he moved to Philadelphia, Franklin set up his own printing shop and started his own newspaper, eventually becoming the busiest printer in the American colonies. For more than 25 years, Benjamin Franklin published a series of books called Poor Richard's Almanac. His almanac was often the only book that people bought. It contained lots of practical information that they wanted to know. For example, the almanac had a calendar with the times of the sunrise and the sunset. Today, we listen to weather forecasts on the radio or television, or we can just look on our phone, right? But back then, people looked in their almanacs to find out what the weather would be like. The almanac had stories and poems as well as puzzles, jokes, and lots of advice. Franklin included many wise sayings, many of which we still use today. Have you ever heard anyone say, "Never leave until tomorrow what you can do today"? Has anybody heard that? We're going to learn more about that. What do you think it means? Now, Franklin must have lived his own words because he got so much done. So that means never leave tomorrow what you can do today. That means don't procrastinate. Oh, that's a big word, Mr. Washington, procrastinate. So when I say never leave tomorrow what you can do today, let me use Max as an example. He was supposed to do his iReady lessons on Friday. And it was the end of the week. It's been a long week of schoolwork. And he's like, I just don't want to do my iReady lessons. Mama, please let me do them tomorrow. And I thought, well, I could let you do them tomorrow, but it's Saturday tomorrow, and I know you're not going to want to do your iReady lessons on Saturday, so I made him do it that day. Saturday morning came, and I was like, I'm going to teach him a lesson. Hey, Max, got to do your iReady. And he's like, no, I did it yesterday. Yay, I can go play. So instead of having to do it the next day and putting it off, he did it on Friday like he was supposed to. And then Saturday morning, it was a beautiful day. He got up, he went and played on the trampoline, and he rode his bike, and he did all sorts of stuff instead of having to do his iReady, which he likes doing iReady. He just didn't want to do it on the weekend, right? So there's an example. Never leave for tomorrow what you can do today. Don't be lazy. Get it done now. That way, tomorrow you can focus on other things. Benjamin Franklin definitely took his own advice because he got so much done because he didn't leave tomorrow what he could have done today, right? He was never still for a minute. His brain was working constantly, spilling over with questions and ideas. Benjamin Franklin had a keen interest in science and the way things worked. As a young boy in Boston, Benjamin spent much of his time swimming in the harbor. He was pretty good, but he wanted to be even better and faster. One day, he thought of a way that he could be a faster swimmer. He found some wood and carved some wooden paddles to fit over his hands and feet, kind of like the flippers that divers use today. When he swam with those, he was much faster, probably faster than all the other children his age. So he invented flippers. As Benjamin Franklin grew older, he continued to invent new things. Anytime he saw a problem, he tried to invent a way to fix it. He had 2 pairs of glasses, one for reading and one to help him see things far away. He didn't like having to switch glasses all day long, so he asked a glass cutter to slice all of his lenses in half. He made one new pair of glasses, with the distant lenses being on top and the close-up lenses being on the bottom. Franklin had just invented bifocal glasses, still worn by many people today. While sitting by the fire one night, Benjamin Franklin watched warm air disappearing up the chimney and wondered how he could trap more warm air inside the house. He made a wood-burning stove out of iron. It put out twice as much heat as a regular fireplace and burned less wood. The stove was named the Franklin stove after its inventor, Benjamin Franklin. Oh, I was pretending that's me. No, I'm not Benjamin Franklin. I'm George Washington. Lightning was another thing that fascinated Benjamin Franklin. He had watched houses and barns burn to the ground when struck by lightning. Could it be, he wondered, that lightning was electricity? He was going to find out. A legend about Franklin's experiment with a kite during a lightning storm goes like this. Remember, a legend is a story that's been told over and over a lot of years, a long time, and it could be true, but we're not really sure, or parts of it can be true, right? One day, Franklin took his son William out in the middle of a thunderstorm with lightning raging all around them. He tied a little metal key near the end of the string of a kite. Franklin was pretty sure that if lightning was electricity, flying the kite in the thunderstorm would cause the key to become charged with electricity. He kept touching the key as the kite flew above their heads. As fibers on the kite string stood on end, Franklin felt a little shock. He was right. Lightning was electricity. Franklin used his discovery to invent the lightning rod, a pole that helps carry electricity away from buildings and into the ground. His invention is used today to prevent fires caused by lightning strikes. Benjamin Franklin's list of inventions goes on and on. The next time you rock back and forth in a rocking chair, thank Franklin for helping you to relax. This clever man invented the rocking chair. In 1790, just 3 years after Benjamin Franklin helped to write the Constitution for our country, he died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 84. 20,000 people attended his funeral. At the time, the biggest funeral ever held in Philadelphia. Bells rang and flags flew at half-mast as signs of respect for one of America's greatest heroes. So if you look at this picture, you will see a flag flying at half-mast or halfway up the flagpole. Whenever you see something like that, it's usually out of respect for somebody who passed away. What do you think about Benjamin Franklin? Pretty awesome guy, right? Let's think about his inventions. Go ahead and get out your whiteboard and write down all the inventions you can remember that he made. Did you write down this one? Do you remember that he invented flippers to help him swim farther and faster? Do you remember what this one was called? This helped him see far away and close up without having to switch glasses, to wear two different pairs of glasses. These are called bifocals. Who had this on their list? Do you remember what it was called? It's called the Franklin stove, named after Benjamin Franklin, and it was made out of iron. It kept in twice as much heat and used less wood. And don't forget this invention. This was the lightning rod that we still use today, and it's a metal bar that takes away the lightning from a building and puts it into the ground. Pretty awesome. That helps prevent fires. And don't forget this chair. Did anybody write down rocking chair? If you did, awesome job. He also invented the rocking chair. One last question for you, and I want you to erase your board and write down the answer. What was his almanac called that people would buy to find out when the sun would rise, when the sun would set, what the weather might look like, that had puzzles and all that stuff? What was that called? Write it down for me. Did you say Poor Richard's Almanac? If not, that's okay. Now you know, Poor Richard's Almanac. Benjamin Franklin was a pretty amazing guy. He was very wise. He was a founder of our country. He was an inventor. He was all around amazing. I would like you to do some more research online if you can. Find out more about Benjamin Franklin. If we were in class, I would show you a little cartoon about Benjamin Franklin, so maybe you can look some up. Of course, do this with the help of a parent. And tell me any new information that you've learned about Benjamin Franklin. In the meantime, let's grab out our core folder, and we're going to open it up, and next you should have three things. You should have this little phrase, and we learned about that today. Never leave until tomorrow what you can do today. You should have a green piece of paper, and then you should have $100 bill. Why did I say why do you think it's $100 that I gave you? Who's on it? That's right, Benjamin Franklin is on it. So what you're going to do with this is you are going to, and I did this for you so that you can trace it yourself and get it just perfect. So you are going to trace never leave until tomorrow what you can do today. You're going to color your beautiful $100 bill, and you can color it green, or you can do, I know some of you like to do your rainbow colors, and I love your rainbow colors, so you can color it whatever you'd like. We know a real dollar bill is green, but do we have to do it realistic? Not this time. And then you're going to put it together on your green paper, just like this. Send me a picture if you'd like. I would love to see yours, because I love you guys. Now remember, never leave tomorrow what you can do today means don't put things off, because if you put things off, it can make more work for yourself. Like if you don't put away your toys today, you might have double toys to put away tomorrow, or you're always going to have to do it. Putting it off is just going to make you have to do double tomorrow. Like for example, if Miss Darcy doesn't go do the dishes now, she might have double to do tomorrow. So she should just get them done and do the dishes. Or the laundry. Ooh, good example is the laundry as well. Because that laundry can get piled up, so you got to keep up. Never put off tomorrow what you can do today. And I know you guys are going to practice this and do awesome. All right, little soldiers, I will see you tomorrow.